These are the assembly instructions for the file that I've called Extinguishing the Birthday Candles. I'm starting with the body of the fire extinguisher, and I'm going to decorate it before I assemble it. I've used Cricut printable vinyl to make the label. Next, I'm grabbing a roll of vinyl and I'm just wrapping my piece around my roll. You can use any kind of cylinder, or you could use a rolling pin. So I'm using it to help me curve my shape. I'm not folding down on the score line at the side or the one that runs across. I'm just folding down on the tabs that are at the bottom. I'm running my bone folder along the score line at the bottom just to minimize the jagged edges that might be caused by the space between my tabs. So next I'm putting glue on that side tab, so from the score line to the edge. I have 4 circular pieces that are approximately the same size. So 2 of them are exactly the same size and 2 of them are a tiny bit smaller. So I'm taking the 2 smaller ones, and the 2 larger ones I'm putting them aside there for the lid. And I'm just going to curve my piece around. So I want the cut edge of the other end to be right on the score line for my tab. I'm just going in there and spreading that glue. So next I'm taking one of the smaller circles and I'm putting glue around the perimeter. With the glue side down, I'm lowering it into my shape. And then I'm going in with my bone folder and I'm just spreading that glue again. So next I'm going to flip my piece over. I'm going to take the second circle. Now this one's solid, no hole in the center. And I'm covering the perimeter in glue, gluing it on top of the bottom of my box. I'm going to flip it over and spread that glue again. So next, this is my lid piece, and again I'm not folding down on that side tab. The score line is there just for positioning, and I'm just folding down that series of smaller tabs. And then I'm using my bone folder to smooth out the edge again. So next I'm putting glue on that tab from the score line to the edge, and I'm going to bring the other end around and position it right at that score line. And I want to make sure that the top and the bottom are even. And I'm taking one of the other rounds with the hole in the center. I'm putting glue all around the perimeter. With the glue side down, I'm lowering it into my round shape. I'm just going along the edges, making sure that my piece is taking the shape of the edge of that round. So next I have this piece, and it has those tiny tabs on either side. I'm just folding down on all the tabs on both sides. And again, I'm running my bone folder along the edge to smooth them out. So next I'm taking one of my markers and I'm just rolling it around to give it a shape. And then I'm going to put glue from the score line to the edge, and I'm bringing my other end around and gluing it right to that score line. So I want the score lines for those tabs on both sides to match up. On one end I'm just pulling those tabs away, and on the other one I'm folding them inwards so that they're all pointing towards the interior of the shape. And I'm taking this small round piece with a hole in the center, and I'm putting glue all around the perimeter. I'm dropping it with the glue side downwards into my shape. Then I'm just pressing down, waiting for that glue to take. I've got my tabs on the right hand side and the part that I've just glued down on my left, and I'm just inserting that piece right in the center of the hole of my lid piece. Before I lower it too far, I'm going to put glue all along every single one of those tiny tabs. I want the seam lines to line up, and I'm folding my tabs downwards now, and I want to pull my piece right until that score line. If you see that those pieces are starting to fold inwards, you know you've gone too far. So you want to make this as even as possible. So just fold your tabs back and glue them onto the surface. So the score line of all those tabs should be right at that cutout circle in the center of your piece. And then I have one remaining red circle. I'm putting glue on the underside of it and just gluing it to the top of my piece. And I have a larger circle with the hole cut out. I'm putting glue on the underside of it and just lowering it over and adhering it to the top of my lid. Next I have these 2 pieces. They're very similar in the way that they're assembled. I'm going to start with the larger one. I'm folding down on all the score lines at the center that form that octagon. And then I'm folding down on the score lines at the side for all 8 of those panels. So next I'm putting glue on those side tabs that are formed by folding down on those score lines. And then I'm just bringing the cut edge of the neighboring piece to the score line of the tab. I'm going to work my way around my piece, just gluing those pieces into place. So once you've folded up all those edges, the piece should look like this. So next I'm going to work on this piece. Now it has a lot more score lines, and I'm just folding down on all of them. For these panels, I have the little triangle at the side and the little tab at the end. And for this, I have the one in the center, and then the 3 tabs at the end, and the 2 tabs at the side, and these triangular ones here. I'm going to start with this tab. I'm putting glue all over that tab, so from the score line to the edge, and then I'm folding it under and bringing its neighboring panel right up to that score line. So the cut edge of this small piece is right along the score line of my piece that has that triangular score. And I'm working my way around. Got this triangular tab, and the next few are exactly the same, these triangular tabs being glued to their neighboring panel. I have that last tab, I'm just gluing it in. So next I have this octagon piece with a little cutout in the center. I'm choosing one of my tabs. It doesn't matter really which one, just not the one at the front. I want one side of my octagon to be right along the score line of my tab. Then I'm putting glue on the 7 other tabs and just folding my octagon down. And I'm positioning my tabs so the edges of my piece have to go along the edges of my sides of my shape. So the reason why I have that hole in the center, I'm just going in there and I'm applying pressure just to make sure that that glue takes, like so. So next I have my handle pieces. They're identical with the exception of one has a longer tab at one end. I'm just folding down on all the score lines. I have my tab on my left hand side. I'm folding down on the second score line. So not the tab score line, but the second score line. I'm just folding that inwards like so. It folds in to create this shape. So I've temporarily folded that side piece out of the way, and I'm putting glue all along those tabs that are folded downwards. And then I'm lining up that side piece so the edge of my piece is right along the score line for those tab pieces, like so. And then I'm going to flip my piece around, putting glue on those 3 tabs, and then folding my side upwards and holding it in shape while the glue dries. So next I'm going to assemble the second one, just folding down on all the score lines, putting glue on those 3 side tabs, and then lifting my side up again. And then I'm taking that tab that's at the end and I'm tucking it inside my shape, and then I'm lowering that second side, and then I'm putting glue on the 3 tabs and lifting up that side and gluing it into place. I want the cut edge to be right along the score lines. And then I'm putting glue on that end piece and applying pressure to seal up the end. I'm putting glue on the bottom of the piece that has that slanted front. So just on the underside of it, all around the perimeter. And I'm gluing it, the score lines meet up all the way around. And then I'm taking my piece that has the longer tab. So the score line for the tab is here. I'm just folding down on it. So I have 4 bracket pieces. I'm using those 2 bracket pieces that have the extra tail on them. I'm putting glue all along the side of my handle piece. I have my tab on the left hand side and I'm just gluing my bracket piece down. 3 sides should match up, and then I'm turning my piece over to the other side, putting glue all along the other side, and then gluing in my second bracket piece like so. So that's one of my lever pieces done. I'm going to work on the second lever piece. So I've got the short side up and the short angle on my right. I'm putting glue all over the side of my piece, just gluing my bracket on so that 3 sides match up and the rounded part is upwards like so. I'm going to flip my piece over, putting glue all over the side, and then I'm gluing my second bracket. So both those rounded edges are upwards. Now I'm grabbing 2 of these brads. The head of these brads is just under 1/4 inch, I would say. So I'm taking my lever and I'm putting my brad through the hole that's at the end. So notice this piece is slanted downwards like so. And I'm going to insert my brad through the hole that's on my larger piece. And then I'm opening the pins on my brad. And then I'm doing that on the second side as well. My bracket piece is on the outside, and I'm just dropping my brad in the hole and then opening my brad up. I'm putting glue on the underside of that tab at the front and those 2 rectangles on either side. So on the tab that's here and those 2 rectangles on either side, I've got that slant on my left hand side. So I'm just positioning those 2 rectangles on either side of my base piece and gluing that front tab down as well. And so this is the part that gets installed onto the top of my fire extinguisher. So next I have this piece, and this is for the hose, and I'm folding down on all those tiny little score lines, and there are a lot of them. So it may be hard to see on the black, but there's these diagonal score lines and these little cut lines in between them. So on this side there's a panel that's thinner than the others, and it has little wedges cut out. So those are my tabs to join my shapes. So I'm just folding them so that they're laying flat. So I'm just putting glue along the tabs. I'm bringing the other end of the shape and just gluing it down to the tab like so, laying it flat right on my craft mat. So then when I'm applying pressure on the sides of it to give it that hexagon shape. I have the long part at the bottom, and I have these tabs all on one side, and then I have these tabs. I'm tucking in all the rest of the tabs that are on the bottom here. I'm putting glue on the underside of that little tiny triangle, making sure that all these tabs are tucked in, and I'm just gluing that down. So then I'm going in from that short part with my craft dowel. I'm just applying a little bit of pressure just to make sure that my glue takes. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the one above. I'm putting glue on the underside of that tiny triangle. I am folding my whole piece over, and I'm gluing my tiny triangle to the outside. And I'm going in with my craft dowel and applying pressure to make sure that that tiny triangle sticks. Next I have this small piece. I'm just folding down on the score lines, and I have another silver piece, got many score lines as well. And then I have this piece with the hexagon shape cut out of it. I'm just folding down on the score lines for it. I've got my hose piece. I'm just putting glue on the underside of my silver piece. I'm going to start at the back, you're less likely to see it, and I'm just wrapping my piece around the top of my hose like so. So next I have this piece with the hexagon shape cut out of it. I'm going to slip my tabs inside my shape. I've got 3 panels on the left side and 4 panels on the right side, and I'm putting glue on all my tabs, and then I'm laying them flat against my panel. So I want the score line to be right on the edge of my panel. And because I wanted to keep my little tabs as long as possible, 2 of them are going to go past the edge of my panel, so I'm just going to snip them off. I was trying to keep those tabs as big as possible until the last step. So I'm just putting glue all over the underside of that silver piece. I've got the downward slope of my lever. My hose is just at the bottom of that part, and then I'm just going to wrap the rest of my piece all the way around like so. And the bottom should be even as well. And so this goes on top like so. I'm putting glue on the underside of my silver strip, and I'm lining up my score line with the join on my fire extinguisher, and then I'm just wrapping my piece around, adding more glue on the underside as I go. And then I have a little silver piece that goes at the bottom of my hose, so I'm just putting glue all over it, and I'm starting at the back of my hose so that it's less visible, and I'm just wrapping it around at about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, around the bottom of my hose piece. I'm using Velcro dots that are 3/8 of an inch in diameter. I'm applying one side of the sticky to the inside at the bottom of my hose. I'm adhering the other side just to that silver panel like so. So my gauge piece is a piece of silver craft board, and then a piece of black craft board over it. And then I have my print and cut vinyl, which I've applied to that black piece. And then I have scored circles on some more of that silver craft board for the center. I'm just going to layer these up and glue them all together. I've got my nozzle, I've got a panel, and then I've got some foam tape. I'm releasing the liner on my foam tape, and I'm adhering my gauge, and I want the green part of the gauge to be upwards like so. So that's my fire extinguisher treat box. So to open the box, you just have to release the Velcro and remove that whole top.